listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. Now, the largest new media platform on the web and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AfterBuzz TV's The Good Wife After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's The Good Wife After Show.
Hi, everybody. I am your host, Courtney Henderson, and tonight we are going to go over the most recent episode of The Good Wife. I have the lovely...
Lovely, huh? What's up, guys? Bobby DeMuro here, excited about tying the knot today.
Yes.
See what I did there?
Wait, are you getting married later?
No, I'm getting married like probably 10 or 15 years from now. I have to find a suitable woman. We're tying the knot on the show. It was a joke.
Oh, I get it.
Wow. All right,
I get
cool.
it. All right, we are here to talk about Season 5, Episode 19, Tying the Knot, as Bobby said.
There you
which
go.
he's not doing, just, you know.
Ladies, I'm
still
still single, believe me.
And now you wonder why. Wait, no, you don't.
Wow.
All right, well, I want to talk about the latest recurring character, Mr. Sweeney.
Let's talk about Colin Sweeney. First off, great suits, great shirts, great ties. This man knows how to dress.
Well, that's what money can do.
And I know a thing or two about ties. You see, I got the little red one today. It's not my greatest work, but it's pretty good. Colin Sweeney knows how to dress.
He does.
It's good-looking suits.
Well, like I said, when you have a lot of money, you know, you can buy style.
That's true. It has nothing to do with the show. That's just the first thing I noticed is his suits are awesome.
It does have to do with the show.
Because he's, you know, well-kept.
That's him. I mean,
Yeah.
it's part of his character.
He's fastidious.
These writers don't, you know, none of that is by coincidence.
Oh, I agree with that. I just say,
So-
like, the actual topics of the show today, the suits don't,
Mr.
you know.
Sweeney is the topic,
Yeah.
so I'm going to argue with you and say it is actually relevant.
Marissa, I'm scared of Courtney today.
Yeah, as you should be.
Aw, guys, I just had some peanut butter and chocolate. I'll be okay. So but we're at his house. We're celebrating his newest engagement, which it would not be appropriate for Mr. Sweeney to come back onto the show unless he has a new wife to be.
Yeah, why not? And it's Renata, which is what did she say? She said, I like people with 3-syllable names when she meets Alicia.
Yeah,
Renata.
she has a theory about them. Yeah,
I don't know what the theory is, but I'm sure it was like sexual in nature, judging by the way she's coming on to.
Pretty much anything that has to do with Colin Sweeney is sexual in nature.
True story.
In one facet or another, which we see, of course, again in tonight's episode because, again, it wouldn't be Colin Sweeney back on the show if there wasn't a murder at his house.
Yeah, the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Right?
Exactly.
Oh, they do. So, what did you think about that?
Well, first off, one thing that wasn't touched on, and I think this is fair game to criticize with this show this week.
I'll be the judge of that.
Well, oh God, now I'm scared. So one sub-theme, one sub-story in the show was, and we'll talk about it later, but was Zach and the Bong and media, Gawker.com, and how they had
Yeah.
the picture. So if you're going to bring media in, and media is fair play, the main story is the murder, right? This is a murder at a very rich, ritzy party of some kind, a murder of somebody in society of influence, at somebody's house who is in society of influence, and the governor's wife is there during the murder, or what they, you know, think was a murder in court, or until the end. That would be a huge news story in and of itself, is trying to uncover who knew what when, and the governor's wife was there, and that's not even touched on. The media firestorm with this murder doesn't get touched on at all. This would be like almost a case of the century, depending on the time it's done, right?
Yeah, but, well, yes. But, you know, people with money can hide a lot of things.
Oh, I know that,
You
but-
have no idea how many governors' wives have actually been at homes when murders have happened because they've already been kept out of the media.
Maybe they have, but I'm just saying that this would be
I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Even in Illinois, this would be a huge story, and it's just I'm just surprised that they're going to talk about, make a media kind of.
Well, but the reason I agree with you that it could be touched on, but I think that it's the media, when the governor's wife or the governor, et cetera, are going to social events, you know, it's sort of like calendared out, and Eli, or the campaign manager or chief of staff or whatever, you know, make sure that people know when they are, where they're going to be. She wasn't there as an invited guest. She was there on legal business.
Oh, for sure.
And so, you know, when the media's looking at the guest list or the who's who of the party, they're not expecting Alicia Florrick, the governor's wife, to be there.
Sure, but don't you think that the state's attorney Castro or Detective Johnson would maybe leak that to a media member and say, hey, by the way, you know, unnamed source in law enforcement, Alicia Florrick was at this party during this murder, you know, FYI, and it'd become a huge news story. I could see a detective doing that to put pressure on somebody to testify or to feel the media heat and say, Alicia, you need to come clean because the media is on you and we need to know what you know and when you do it.
But she did come clean. I mean, she was a cooperative witness. Maybe if she wasn't, then yeah. I mean, and I honestly, I don't know. I don't know how that works with the media and if it would be bigger or not than it was. I think that it was sort of, I mean, if Colin Sweeney had been the one up, you know, on trial, then yes, or the accused, then yes, you know, I could see that being a little bit more of a thing, especially knowing that she'd been there just after a murder before. The thing that I found interesting along those lines with her being there for the second time was that was brought up, you know, and the detective kind of, he said it to Alicia, but I felt like calling out Colin Sweeney, saying he's just bringing you there to be his alibi. And I hadn't really thought of that before, but I think it makes sense. Although the first murder, you know, it's not like she was there when it happened, so she couldn't really be the alibi for the time of the murder, you know, but for this, absolutely. The thing that I found interesting was Alicia was lying. For the first time we see her lie, because, you know, they talk about, could you have mistaken Sweeney? And she did. We saw in the party that she walked towards a man who turned around and wasn't Sweeney.
Well, I agree with you. She was technically lying. I think, though, that where Sweeney ended up being around the corner, he couldn't have gotten upstairs. So she still couldn't have mistaken that, and he wouldn't have been able to make it upstairs.
Agreed.
So is she lying by the letter of the law of lying? Yes, she may have fudged a little bit. But is she lying in the grand scheme of things of covering for Sweeney when he ran upstairs? I don't think so.
And I agree with that.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting because Alicia has been one of the characters, if not the only character on the show, that has kind of held that integrity of honesty and sort of doing the right thing. You know, and kind of having to only play dirty in the sense of like loopholes, but because it's still legal. We've never seen her do things that aren't legal or that are, you know, I mean, yes, we've seen her do questionable things, but it's morally questionable. So to her, it's questionable. It's not like of the law questionable. Am I making any sense?
Kind of. I'll say yes because I know you're going to like jump down.
Hey, no, I'm asking. You can be honest.
No, you are. I mean, you are. I'm just playing with you. But one thing I will say with Alicia, and it's not her moral compass so much that is of note to me, but her memory. Because now several episodes in a row, we've seen these flashbacks with her. And we saw it tonight. First, she saw Demetrius go up the stairs. Then she thought about it again, and she saw, what was the assistant's name, Barry?
Something like that.
She saw the assistant go up the stairs. Barry Hildum go up the stairs.
His
manservant, whatever you want to call him. And it's like, which one of her memories is correct? What is she actually thinking? Remember back just a couple episodes ago when Josh Charles's character, when Will Gardner was killed in the courtroom, the first memory she had of him being killed in the courtroom was that mean convict-looking dude with the huge beard, and it turned out to be Jeffrey Grant, the young kid. Right. So her mind, her you know, psychological self is playing tricks on her, which I think happens to a lot of people when they're trying to remember, you know, accidents or court cases or whatever. She's not alone, but it's not lying so much to me as it is she's just really struggling to remember and is under so much stress, has so much going on.
Well, especially at that party. Is
constantly on the phone. Oh, my Lord.
Yeah, that was insane. I was getting anxiety, honestly, watching, like, you know, up until the good wife, you know, cues and comes on and the episode, quote unquote, starts, even though it started. It's one of those things. The introduction, it was, the whole time I was just like anxious, you know, because there's so many phone calls. She spoke to Zach, Eli, Carrie twice, Finn once or twice, or, you know.
And she's dealing with
Sweeney, which, I mean, anybody that's watched the show, you actually, if you've never seen the show until tonight, you can tell that Sweeney's a handful just because of the engagement party and how he is. And, well, you would need to get Renata to to do this so that I can do this. And you see Alicia, she's like, she knows she has to play the game with him. So she's like, just cut the crap. Just tell me what I need to accomplish. You know, like I'm going to play the game. I need you to sign these papers. What do I need to do to get you? What do I need to do to get you to sign them? Because she knows she has to play the game. But she's also worked with Sweeney enough to know I don't have to sit here for the next 2 hours and listen to him tell riddles for me to figure out what it is that I need to do.
I know somebody very much like Sweeney, and he's not like a weird like sex pervert. He's not spending $145,000 on sexual therapy. Can you even imagine that?
And finding no reason why that wouldn't be able to be considered a business expense.
Why it's not a business expense. But I know somebody like this, and it's more not any of the weird stuff. And he's certainly, I hope.
Well, you don't know that.
I hope he's not a murderer. I'm just saying.
Oh,
I hope he's not a murderer. But I know somebody like this in the sense that there are people like this who are very successful or very wealthy or whatever, and they just see bigger picture. And so you have an agenda and you have a to-do list and you have to do this, this, and this, and they're kind of like, yeah, but like, what's the bigger picture? You know, and it's a weird personality, but I think a lot of people are going to watch Sweeney and say, in a weird way, you know, my dad's like that, or, you know, I have a friend like that or something, because they're just bigger picture people who don't understand the day-to-day grind and the day-to-day agenda you have to get through. They just look at a really long-term, like riddles and things like that. It's like, why are we talking about animal testing? That's big picture and random and who cares? I need a signature. But to Sweeney, in that mindset, why not talk about animal testing? That's more important than some stupid signature.
So which one are you saying is the bigger picture person?
Sweeney's a bigger picture guy. Alicia is very regimented, especially in this scene. She needs to get this done in 21 minutes or whatever it is, 24 minutes.
Yeah.
And Sweeney's kind of just floating all over. He's already at a party. He's probably a little inebriated, you know, but he's just floating all over, and he's more of a bigger picture guy. Like, let's talk about this. Let's hang out and do that. This is sort of the art of their relationship, whereas Alicia's like, dude, just get this done. I have to move on to the next thing.
Interesting. I wouldn't say Sweeney's a bigger picture person. I think he's aloof and, I think he's aloof, but I think he's very calculated. I think he does it because he does it to push buttons, and he knows how far he can push Alicia. I mean, and he says to her, this is, you know, my second favorite person or woman or whatever it is. And we've known that from the beginning. I mean, Alicia...
That's scary.
Alicia would love, I think, to get rid of him as a client on some level.
Oh yeah, sure. But I mean, if he brings in a lot of money and whatever.
Yeah, $1 million bonus on this merger that she's trying to get signed.
Yeah.
And, you know, and so that's why I asked who you were saying is the bigger picture person, because I think Alicia is sort of a big picture person too in that sense. I mean, with the, you know, becoming the Bill and Hillary, as it's said in this episode, you know, she did that as far as making her marriage more of a business relationship. I mean, and because she's looking at the bigger picture. She needs this bonus, and she needs to get out of there and deal with the 10 other things and the 3 other people that she's been talking to on the phone. You know, and so, I would say Alicia is a bigger picture person.
But
which is why she cuts the crap and she's like, I'm not playing the games, I'm not doing the riddles.
But that's the thing. No, that's the thing. That's exactly it. She looks at the bigger picture, but it's a focused big picture. She's always got a goal. And this is why I need to get Sweeney to do this, because I have these larger long-term goals. Sweeney's just hanging out. You know, it's all a riddle to him. Life is a riddle to guys like that.
Yeah, he kind of creeps me out.
Yeah, you think?
I think he's supposed to. I think that the character is well written and well acted because of that.
How about the glasses where they match a body type with a porn star?
Oh my gosh, those can't be a real thing. The thing that scares me is I feel like if I went on Amazon, I would find them very quickly, and I could probably have them to my house in 2 days if I wanted to, because I have Amazon Prime.
Courtney, dare we ask you which porn star you would be matched to?
I don't know. I don't know any porn stars.
I don't know if I'm buying that.
The only porn star I've ever heard of was Jenna Jameson. Jenna James.
Oh, don't even act. You know her name.
I don't really. Which one?
Jenna Jameson.
She's
She's famous though. She crossed over. People like that cross over.
She's the only one I know. I saw her on an episode of LA Inc. Like, that's how I.
Marissa, are you buying this?
I don't know, because I don't know any porn stars.
Oh my Lord, you two. All right, you know what? Just move on. Fine, whatever. I'll cut you guys some slack. I'll believe you.
Maybe you should be embarrassed because you know porn stars.
Yeah, you know a lot. Well, but see, a lot of my guy friends. I was out with a couple of my friends the other night, and the guys started talking about girls that they both knew. And I was like, I don't need to know that my guy friends have seen the same porn videos. No, no.
Wait a minute. They were talking about porn stars they both knew.
Yeah, not in person, but they'd both seen their work.
They've seen their videos. Yeah. Oh, you mean oh, hey, I love your work.
And no, ew. So it doesn't matter because it has nothing to do with Colin Sweeney. He has a very different, and I still can't say the word, Shabra.
Shibari.
Shibari? See, I was
Although
way
there was a
off.
distinction because he corrects somebody's pronunciation. So Shibari is just, totally thrown. It's not like the
It's-
technical
okay.
pronunciation. But it's close enough. Let's call it Shibari.
But it's one of those things where it's like, how convenient that you like got into this rope tortured sexual experience thing just in time, to kill off
Hey, listen, to each his own.
Morgan.
I like to run for exercise. He likes to Shibari.
I guess. I mean, and to each his own. But the thing that I find interesting is we find out that his soon-to-be wife is actually the killer at the end, and that she did it because she didn't feel like her and Sweeney had enough in common. And so killing somebody, it was like, hey, like, we're dating. We don't have enough in common. Oh, you killed somebody? I think I should probably do that so, like, we can be, more alike.
Courtney, you...
Why couldn't you just, like, take a cooking class together to be more alike?
That's what I was going to ask. You ride motorcycles, correct?
Yes.
So if you were dating a guy who, like, wanted to be more in common with you, he would maybe, like, take up riding motorcycles. That would be something you could do together.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't start dating somebody that didn't already ride motorcycles.
Exactly. But you wouldn't date somebody and be like, hey, let's kill somebody together so we can get to know each other. That's...
Yeah, no.
That's extra.
Or like something that he's done that might have been stupid. I wouldn't then go do also. If he's like, oh my gosh, I smoked cocaine once. Like, I wouldn't go try cocaine just to feel a closer connection.
Smoked cocaine?
Well, I don't know. You can smoke it, can't you?
Well, I think that's crack. But let's
okay.
Okay, here's my one question. We're way off topic. Here's my one question about Renata and that end scene. And I don't want to jump too far to the end, but we are talking about Sweeney, so I think it matters. It's the Sweeney case.
You're approved to continue.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your candor. Here's the thing about Renata at the end. They did not find her not guilty. They dropped the charges. And in American justice, in the legal system in the United States of America where we are, if you are found not guilty, like, say, O.J. Simpson, you can't be tried again. That's double jeopardy, right?
Yes.
If they drop the charges, theoretically, they can find new evidence and pick the charges back up. So it's really cocky and really arrogant and really dangerous at the end for Renata and for Sweeney to do what they did with Alicia and wherever Diane was in that, but with Alicia to sort of say, hey, we might have killed somebody together.
No, not might have. Well, no, I don't think they did it
wink,
together.
wink, nudge,
no.
nudge.
I do not think they did it together.
It was just Renata.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, because Sweeney has killed a previous wife. So for her to feel connected to him, she needed to experience something that he had experienced. I don't think he was in on it at all. I think she's just as weird and out there as he is, maybe even more so.
You don't think he sort of goaded her into doing it or
Absolutely
suggested
not.
it?
I really don't. I don't think. I think that this was completely on her own. And maybe she went to him and was like, I want to do this, and so he helped her stage it or whatever. That I don't know, and it's not very relevant to the main storyline of The Good Wife, but yeah, Sweeney clearly just brings out the weirdness in people because this conversation is just pew, 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 like different directions.
Yeah, you think so? We're talking about motorcycles and porn stars, and Sweeney brings it out in us. Let's move on from Sweeney before we start talking about really weird stuff. You guys don't even want to know.
Seriously, you don't. Well, I mean, for me, the person that I want to spend a lot of time talking about is Finn. Like, I'm like very quickly developing a huge crush on him.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You didn't tell me about this.
Well, it's a secret crush till now.
Wow. I'm kind of hurt, Courtney,
Finn
to be honest.
Palmar, Finley. His real name was Finley, and I'm not going to lie. When they said that at the end, I was like, I think I like him more now. His name's Finley. That's like a great name.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
Seriously.
Names that end in Y. Very good.
I like him, yeah. Courtney.
Bobby.
And
Finley.
You spell it I-E, though. Don't you lie to me.
No, I do not.
Well, okay, so I want to talk about Finn. We know Alicia's kind of had his back. We've actually had some of our listeners bring up that they think that there's going to maybe be a little romance between Finn and Alicia, which, as you know, I don't agree with and I don't think will happen. I think that he's happily married with a child and Alicia is not going to cross that line. And I think that Alicia's love life is actually going to be off the table, at least through the remainder of this season.
I totally disagree with you, but continue.
But, but she's very protective of him because Alicia knows that Finn is the one that was there with Will, that protected Will as best he could, given the circumstances. And, we see the state's attorney, Castro, kind of on Finn and doing exactly what Alicia says. She's protecting him. She calls him. She says, you should run for state's attorney because then he can't come after you. lose your job. And he's like, no, I don't need to do that. There, Finn and Jimmy or James, I don't know which is his actual name because they call him both, but well, I guess that would be James because isn't Jimmy a nickname for James? Anyway,
yes.
So they're, they talk, and and Finn is called into the state's attorney's office, and he goes to take away the one case he just gave him, the high-profile Renata case, and he sets him up to fail in the preliminary hearing, and then takes the case away, and we know he's already taken away his other cases. And then that's when Finn sort of decides to be like, you know what, screw you. Like, apparently our friendship doesn't run deeper. Loyalty to me doesn't run deeper. You're trying to navigate your career and strategy at any cost, and our friendship being one of those costs. And if you're gonna be willing to throw our relationship away and our friendship of, however many years, then I guess, I'm willing to put that on the line too, not to screw you over, but to protect myself. Like, Finn's not trying to screw him over. Finn's just trying to protect himself. Yeah, I mean, and I think that shows that he's a good guy, and I would love to see him become the state's attorney.
Well,
I would love that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think that's coming up, and we'll discuss it in predictions, but Finn obviously got in over his head. He had no bones about actually running and winning this election. He just wanted it for the Shakeman violation exemption so that he could have his cases back and couldn't be fired. The one turn in this episode really that happened to me was Castro becomes not a likable guy. At the very least, in the last few episodes with the Jeffrey Grant case and all this other stuff, Castro was just kind of like maybe slightly unlikable, maybe, right down the middle of the road, maybe, whatever, it's another character.
I
maybe.
never liked him.
Well, he looks like a guy who you shouldn't like, but he's never done anything so egregious for you not to like him. It's just a mild annoyance.
That's true, but I just
Now-
always side with Alicia because
Sure.
and she had him picked out from the beginning, as soon as Finn came into the picture, at least.
Yes, yeah.
She's had Finn's back from the beginning, and for me, just loving Alicia and loving the show, and I think that that's part of the writing, and it was definitely intentional, for those of us that are invested in Alicia, not to say that you're not, but, that sort of just like are on, drink that Kool-Aid or whatever, that, we're gonna just sort of follow her gut instinct and think the way that she thinks about it and agree with the things that she's trying to do to protect Finn.
Well, you're going to be more invested in Alicia, very broadly speaking, than I am, because you are a woman and I am a man. And I know that's a broad generalization. It's certainly not true for everybody, but there are more identifiable things to you about Alicia than there are to me, and I would identify with whomever's a strong male character, maybe somebody like a Finn or formerly a Will Gardner. But Alicia, you're in the demographic. Like, Alicia is going to be
Absolutely.
identifiable to you. So I understand how you're saying that because Alicia's so likable, Castro's slightly unlikable.
Well, I mean, but there's lots of guys that I like on the show, and I know that wasn't where you were going with
Yeah.
that, but it's one of those things where I think that she put that doubt of likability in our minds. And as a viewer, me personally, I kind of ran with that with him because I also really like Finn. Aside from the crush, that's developed. I mean, honestly, I feel like that sort of came on at the very tail end when he became Finley, and I was just like,
Oh, the
I
tail
just
end.
love that. Well, no, and when he was in court, when he was in that preliminary hearing, and you saw him struggling because of the flashbacks of being in court, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is his first time stepping back in a courtroom since that.
Yes.
Since the shooting, correct?
As far as we know, because
Yeah.
apparently his other cases were taken from him, so
Right.
yes. Yeah.
Okay. So he's like ready to get rocking and rolling, or so he says, and he's not. And and it's sort of that hard thing because on one hand, I think Castro, the state's attorney, is correct in sort of saying, you should take some time. And I think Finn would have taken some time if he knew the intention behind it was genuine as a friend looking out for his health and well-being, not a malicious strategy tactic for his career.
Here's my question with Castro, and seriously, at home, if you have a better feel on Castro than I do, please tell me, because I really want to know this. And it's an important distinction. Finn is not going to run for state's attorney. He's not going to worry about Shakeman violation until he gets removed from all these cases and Castro wants to let him go and lay him off or whatever. What is Castro's incentive to lay off Finn and make an enemy out of him? Why didn't Castro just give Finn some cases, whatever, and Castro did his thing as he tried to be reelected for state's attorney? Why make an enemy out of Finn when you didn't need to?
Well, my understanding was with the Jeffrey Grant case, there was a sort of, sort of like a lack of, something went wrong on the ASA side. And basically
before the shooting.
Okay, basically somebody has to be blamed that Jeffrey Grant was able to shoot anybody, you know, ending up killing and wounding those that were killed, well, you know, Will and the others. And they have to cover their back. And because it's an election year, and because the Grants, as we sort of know, are also somewhat of a high-profile name and family, to where they could stir the pot a little bit and kind of say, I mean, basically, I think that Jeffrey Grant, the state's attorney, was being accused of being the reason why Jeffrey Grant killed them for putting him in the general population, in the prison. So that they did that, which led him to be beat up and, you know, assaulted or whatever happens in jail to somebody like Jeffrey Grant, who's young and rich and clearly not, you know, made for jail life. And so that fallback and that pushback couldn't be on the state's attorney himself in an election year saying, you know, you got Will Gardner killed, or you made, you know, you allowed this, or you did what had to be done, and this is the result of it. And somebody has to be responsible. And he was going to put the blame on Finn when Finn didn't do anything different than any other ASA would have done on the case. But he was trying to make it look like Finn did something different than any other ASA would have done. And so it's on Finn that this happened, because he couldn't take the fall.
I think you're exactly right. And you're right. I mean, that actually is what it is now that I think about it. And Finn has to become persona non grata in that office, because Castro can't become persona non grata. In that little scene, not to go back too far, too many episodes, but a couple episodes ago where Alicia ends up confronting Castro in that deposition about general detention for all these guys, and she's like, don't you do the same thing? And Castro didn't want it turned around back on him. So that's it. You're absolutely right.
That was why, yeah.
Bow down to Courtney. She's right again. She's always right.
I'm a fan. What can
You're
you
right
say?
about Finn being scapegoated by Castro. Bow down. Continue, Miss Henderson.
So that's why we don't like Castro. That's why Finn ends up running. I mean, I stand by. He's running not because he wants to do ill will to Castro. I think he actually would still very much want to keep the relationship and restore it if it's possible. But at that point, when he basically, when the state's attorney has to basically fire Finn, that's when he retaliates just out of survival. It's like survival mode. It's not to get revenge or to do anything. And then we see, of course, Alicia help him because, you know, he says, I declared my candidacy, this morning, he says?
Yeah,
today. Earlier today. And so then he calls Alicia because now he actually has to do it, which I was surprised. I thought that he really had already. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, no, he was bluffing. Absolutely bluffing.
But I think it would have been, just knowing these writers, I think it would have been really interesting to find out that he'd already made that decision.
I think it's
and
more,
that he wasn't going to come out and say anything unless he had to.
I think it's more interesting to find out that he had to make that decision on the fly, and then, oh my God, I'm in big trouble. I have to declare this. I don't know what to do with the paperwork. And Alicia's like, fill out the paperwork. It takes 20 minutes. Here's where we go. And then he says, signatures. I can't get signatures. And Eli Gold, our homeboy, is just like, oh, I'll get you those signatures in an hour.
And he says federal or Cook County. And it's like, where do these signatures come from?
Well, with Eli Gold, Lord knows where they come from.
Well, no, don't. I like Eli. I mean, he's had his moments where he hasn't been as likable, but I think right now he's very much a likable character on the show.
Nobody's better connected, so if you're going to get some signatures, go to Eli to get some signatures.
But I love how that got turned around on him, because, and I don't know why Castro felt the need so strongly once Finn was running to go. Why do you think?
Oh, it was because of Alicia.
The endorsement.
He says
so?
It was because of Alicia, and
because he says, like, does Alicia have a problem with me?
Exactly. And Castro, I think, didn't want to bring up that, hey, you know, my relationship with your wife isn't so good, so I kind of need your endorsement. But then Peter called him out and said, hey, don't you have a problem with my wife? And Castro gives a politician's answer. Like, any politician would love to hear that answer. Whatever he said about, you know, I don't have a problem with anybody, but if your wife has a problem with my office, you should endorse me to show that you go across the aisle. It was like, what a smooth response.
Right.
And Peter's like, hey, man, I'm the politician here. I'm not falling for the smooth response. See you later. And it backfired on Castro.
It did, but it's interesting because, of course, you know, when Peter became governor, he had to appoint the new state's attorney. So it becomes that double-edged sword, because if he endorses somebody else, then it's showing that maybe he made a mistake in choosing James in the first place.
Yeah.
You know, and so you kind of have to play that fine line, like, okay, what is he doing so wrong that you're going to go back on the person you chose and say, there's an even better candidate. You know, I mean, and I guess that will sort of unravel, but I love that because now Finn has to run. And it's so funny because Eli gets that turned around because Eli, of course, wanted him. You know, he says we have to get behind a winner, you know, and it's like, well, actually, you know, this is the good wife. So if you're going to go get behind a winner, it's got to be Finn.
Yeah, and I think this, too, the same point I feel like I make every week, that Peter and Alicia still care about each other so much, even if it's not traditional, you know, hold hands, go on dates, love. They still care about each other and have some level of love for each other so much because Peter defends Alicia by not endorsing Castro, and then again defends her by endorsing Finn, because Peter knows how Finn helped Will when Will was dying. Peter knows what Finn meant to Alicia for doing all that stuff, and Peter obviously knows what Will meant to Alicia. So this is just another extension down that line of Peter saying, this is going to make my wife happy, this is better for my wife, therefore it's better for me. And yeah, we don't have the traditional relationship, but I'm still looking out for her on some level, and this is the right thing to do.
Right. Well, and it's interesting because with Finn running, I mean, you realize, I mean, he is an ASA, so he's already going against defense attorneys like Alicia, like Diane, like Carrie, etc. But this puts him basically as king of the prosecutors. I mean, you know what I mean? So he's now putting himself in a position, or, you know, being put in a position to where he'll be going up against, well, I guess, although Peter was the state's attorney and they did just fine with that. So I guess maybe this will actually be a good thing to where Alicia has somebody back in the state's attorney's office that she can sort of play nice with, and that they can sort of work together, hopefully, to make sure that the right people are prosecuted and that the right people are actually convicted.
Now, at Peter's press conference, when he endorsed Finn, he did mention there are a lot of candidates for state's attorney. We know Finn, we know Castro. You know who another person I hope is a candidate for state's attorney, but I'm sure isn't?
Who?
David Lee.
I knew you were going to say that. I almost guessed it.
David Lee.
Why would he run for state's attorney?
No, I mean, he wouldn't. I'm just being goofy.
You just love him.
But David Lee or Clark. Could you imagine David or
Oh my
Clark
gosh.
running for state's attorney? It would just be fun. I mean, neither one of them's doing it, I'm sure. But it would be really funny. Could you imagine?
I can't. I mean, I get why you say that because they're such strong, fun characters on the
and
show.
I mean, and Diane's not going to run for state's attorney. So David Lee,
that
come
would
on
be
down.
a step down because she's going to be a judge. I think she'll be a judge by the end of the show.
Really?
I mean, not this season, but like by the end of the show. You know, whenever
that is the career path
that ends up coming. So. So yeah, well, before we get started on our final topic, I just want to reach out and say, please go on iTunes, subscribe, like us, rate us. Please let us know what you think. We love making the show the best show that we can for you guys. So anything that you can let us know to do better or to keep doing because you like it, let us know. And like he was saying about, now I forget what I was going to say. You were saying about letting you know about Castro. About the state's attorney.
Yes.
If you're just, you know. So let us know what you think about him. And if Bobby's way off base here.
No, you already proved I'm way off base. So don't comment. She already proved it. I know.
All right. Well, maybe I was subtly, you know, just trying to get more people to remind you that I was right.
Yeah, this is why you can't host shows with girls, you guys. They're always right, and then they never let you forget about it.
Hey, hey, hey.
Marissa's laughing over there.
Hey,
she
it's
knows
for
I'm telling
horses,
the
right?
truth.
All right, well, back into it. Our final topic I want to get into is just briefly Zach with the marijuana. We see on Gawker, again, they're bringing in real-life aspects of the media and the political world, and we see Zach holding a bong. I think, I want to believe that it's not his.
Well, first
so I'm
off,
going to stand by that.
How about that product placement? Gawker.com on The Good Wife, huh? They could have chose a lot of websites. They could have made up a website, like how Law & Order makes up like fake Facebooks. They chose Gawker. Interesting product placement. I don't know what it means, but it's interesting. You really think it wasn't his?
I do.
Whew, man, you are ignorant to the ways of the young man.
But here's the thing. Why would the girl call and make, like, I feel like she went out of her way to, like, try to get Zach in trouble and, like, protect herself. Because she called Alicia and...
Wait a minute. What's the girl's last name? Maybe it's Castro.
I don't know.
No, I'm just kidding. It's not. I think she just called. I think she called
She wasn't a concerned friend, though.
No, I think she called. She was telling the truth, and she realized that I can't say that this was my bong because this is the governor's kid, and I'm going to end up taking a lot of heat on it if they find out it's mine. So the pressure's too much. I can't lie about this. It was his. Alicia, you need to know that. I think I took her at face value. I don't know why. You know, you took Zach at face value. I took her at face value. I don't know if there's a reason.
I took Zach at face value because all along Zach has sort of been like, he gets it. He gets what their life is about. He gets that the family is what it is. As far as the now, he didn't like it, and there's been a lot of things that he hasn't been able to do. But I think having worked on his dad's campaign, having been a part of their lives and helping things move forward, you know, I think that he's being honest. I'm not saying I don't think kids get involved in those things. I mean, because he says later that he's the only kid that hasn't tried drugs.
Yeah.
And then he was taking it away from her. What I thought they were going to say is when they showed the photo, that it was like, no, I was holding, you know, I was holding a Coke bottle or something, and they like photoshopped a bong, because like that's where I thought they were going to go. And then he says it's not mine, not that I wasn't holding that, I was holding something else. So
interesting.
That's where I thought that was going to go. But I do, I mean, and I think that there will be more about this, especially because in Peter's campaign, he's obviously against the legalization of marijuana, which Eli brings up, because we see Alicia and her brother back briefly at the end talking.
That was a nice scene, actually.
It was. It was fun to see them talking. It was fun to see her brother, good old Owen, you know, back to troublemaking and then having to come make it right. But at the end of the day, always making sure that he's there for Alicia. He made a comment to her. What did he say? You're my favorite person in the world. And I love that. I love that bond between them because I think it's true. And I think that he will absolutely do anything for her, and that his intent behind anything is always in her favor. You know, and I think sometimes he forgets that he's sort of connected to this family because he makes the comment about, you know, you should see Alicia drink.
Yeah.
It's like you can't say stuff like that about the governor's wife,
well,
even
remember,
if it's your sister.
She married into the governor. Obviously, he wasn't the governor when they got married, but she married into that life. He didn't, but by virtue of being her brother, he is married into that life.
Totally.
So even though he may see himself as an outsider and initially talks to the media and does what we saw in the video, he has to realize that, you know, I actually have to be careful because on some level, I am a public figure too.
Absolutely. Well, let's quickly just get into some predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Predictions first and news and gossip second. Interesting.
What do you predict?
I think you're totally wrong. My prediction is that Finn and Alicia, I don't know what it looks like, but something's coming relationship-wise, and I totally disagree with you saying there's not. Here's the thing. You, Courtney Henderson, have mentioned that, oh, well, we haven't, you know, Finn has a wife and kids and whatever. We haven't seen the wife. We haven't seen the kids. We've just been told about them. I don't think they don't exist. They exist, but they're clearly not important in the story. Finn's out there alone. Alicia's out there now alone. Something might happen. The other thing, in that scene you were just talking about with Alicia and her brother Owen, remember how visibly uncomfortable she got when he started talking about, hey, we got to get you laid. And I know part of that was the fallout from Will.
I think it's only that.
Ooh.
I do. I think it's only that. I think she is still, I mean, we see her go in her room. We see her struggle. And I think that, I mean, I don't know if you've ever lost a loved one in that way that you're intimate with. I haven't. And it's one of those things where I feel like after a bad breakup, you don't want to go, well, I want to go out and just find someone to be with just for the sake of being with someone. No, like I need time to mourn and, you know, move on. And I think that that's what Alicia's doing, because I don't think that sex has been a huge thing. You know, I don't think that she's one of those people that's just like sex hungry and needs it. You know what I mean? So I don't think that that's a priority, especially right now.
I agree with you, but I still think there's something
between
there
them. I
with
don't,
Finn.
but you know, that's my like week after week prediction.
Well,
and I actually think Finn actually won't end up running. For some reason, I feel like somehow he'll get out of having to run. I don't know.
Interesting.
We'll see. Something bigger or better will come along.
All right. What about you? What's your prediction?
That's my prediction.
Oh, that's it. Okay. All right. I thought you had a bigger one. So
no, my prediction is that, you know, it looks like he's being forced into running, and you know it'll start to go that way, but that something else will happen and he won't end up state's attorney.
We disagree about everything tonight.
Well,
I don't know if you're doing it on purpose.
I'm not. I would feel this way if you weren't here.
Interesting.
All right, quickly, news and gossip.
News and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
All right, Courtney, we have two good pieces of news today. The first one is the Chinese government has banned The Good Wife from online streaming in the country.
What?
Yep. Here's the thing. Chinese government affiliated watchdog organization State Administration of the Press, Publication, Radio, Film, and Television. How awful does that administration sound? Has ordered websites to stop streaming The Big Bang Theory, NCIS, and The Good Wife. Now, they didn't give a reason, but typically...
Or they don't have to.
No, they don't. And yeah, who are they going to answer to? But typically, this state-run media will say content gets removed if it is unsuitable. Now, I don't know which...
What
episode.
defines unsuitable?
Not only that, but I don't know where they're at roughly with streaming, if they get episodes as soon as we get episodes. So I don't know if Will Gardner's murder pushed it over the top. I don't know what was defined as unsuitable, but something is unsuitable, and our Chinese friends can no longer watch The Good Wife. Streaming.
All right.
Yeah, maybe they can
what
get
else do you got?
Bootleg DVD. The other thing, this is hilarious. Josh Charles, your favorite guy, not only did he direct this episode tonight.
That's right. I did want to bring that up.
He did direct this episode. Also, comedian Amy Schumer, very funny comedian. You've seen The Newsroom with Aaron Sorkin. Amy and Josh parody The Newsroom in something called The Food Room. Have you seen this?
No.
It was exclusive on Slate.com. It's all over the web right now. I will put up a link on our YouTube video. So if you are listening to the podcast, go on YouTube later. I'll put up a link in the comment section to it. It is The Newsroom, but at a fast food restaurant. It is so funny.
I look forward to seeing this.
It's quick dialogue. It's like stressful stuff. It's just like a newsroom situation, except they're just trying to make a lot of cheeseburgers. Josh Charles, stars in that short.
So that's what he was busy doing when he needed to get off The Good Wife.
Hey, fresh off The Good Wife, he's taking a victory lap, and part of it is on a parody of The Newsroom, I guess. It's funny. I will put it up. It's like a 5-minute thing.
All right. Well, where can we find you?
I am at Bobby DeMuro. Tweet us, guys. I want to hear from you guys about Castro and everything else, and I know you already tweet Courtney, so include me in the tweets.
All right. I am at COUHEN on Instagram and Twitter. Join us next time, and thank you for joining us tonight.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.